Welcome everyone back to the Monday Night Wars. This is week 17, January 8th, 1996 for Nitro. It's the 19th episode of Nitro, but it's just the 17th week they went at it with Raw, as there's 2 weeks where they didn't go at it with Raw as Raw wasn't on. So it's the 19th Nitro, but the 17th week of the Wars. So that's why it's week 17. That's why I'm not going by episode number. I'm going by when Raw met Nitro. So this is the 17th time Nitro went head-to-head with Raw. Nitro drew a 2.7, which was good, but not good enough for WWF, who came in with a 3.0. That's Raw's highest rating of all time to this point. Nitro now all the time through 17 weeks now has 7 wins, 8 losses, and 2 draws. So they're 7-8-2 against the WWF for Nitro. So this week of 17 in the Monday Night Wars that drew a 2.7 and lost is commentated by Steve McMichael, Eric Bischoff, and Bobby Heenan as always. Nitro begins with Bischoff talking about all the matches for tonight, like always, hyping the event, calling them WCW number 1, even though they didn't win the ratings last week or this week. But they weren't far off, and they were getting some really good ratings. It's live on TNT from the North Charleston Coliseum in Charleston, South Carolina. Benoit with Pillman took on Alex Wright in the opening contest. Alex Wright's clotheslined by Benoit aggressively right away, and an immediate snap suplex by Benoit, showing why he's a Horseman. Benoit lost the week before because to Lord Steven Regal, and Pillman called him out for it. So Benoit wants to redeem himself here. Pillman came to ringside to watch and get into it with Alex Wright. He ended up taking off his shirt and choking out Alex Wright on the outside when Benoit was distracting the official. Pillman rules. That's all. A scoop slam, Benoit with a flying headbutt. I feel cheated we didn't get Pillman in the Attitude Era, but make no mistake about it, his attitude helped launch Austin's attitude and everyone else's. Benoit off the top gets the thrust kick by Wright underneath the legs of Benoit. As Wright is a Boston Crab, elevated Benoit to the canvas. Wright flying off the top of the crossbody. Bischoff then bashes the WWF and says they're giving the best action here for free, whereas the WWF is raising pay-per-view prices. Benoit chops back at Wright and then Irish whips into the corner with a reverse elbow by Wright. He hits a snap suplex and then a cover. Benoit out of it with a crossbody. Right to Pillman on the outside. Right then with Benoit diving his head to the corner. Came off with a crossbody attempt. Benoit goes for a suplex, a standing switch, then a go behind, duck under. Wright trying to gain leverage advantage, but Chris drops Wright with a suplex, full Nelson with a German suplex with a full Nelson bridge. Benoit pins him with that maneuver at 640. Good match here. I rated 2 stars and 3/4, so Benoit gets the win. Next up, we got Eddie Guerrero versus Lord Steven Regal with Jeeves. Now we get 2 awesome wrestlers going at it right after a Benoit match. Lord Steven Regal ties up with Eddie as neither man could gain a leverage advantage in this chain wrestling sequence of go-behinds, standing switches, hammer locks, arm bars, overhead wrist locks, strength of power test. Eddie then take a single leg sweep. Lord Steven Regal got taken down, and a side headlock maneuver, a few shots, a wrist lock by Regal backwards, and he hits a suplex. The southpaw again hitting him with European uppercuts in the corner. Reverse front face lock leaning backwards into an inverted slam by Lord Steven Regal. Regal, with Eddie in his hands, spears him on the top rope before another European uppercut. Regal stomped on Eddie and then kicked Eddie down, and then the 2 applied reversals. Lord Regal with a big elbow who kicked out of the pinning attempt right there after an elbow. Was Eddie Guerrero. Regal then with an abdominal stretch. Heenan calls Regal the greatest talent from England. Eddie fights back, and out of nowhere, after Regal goes for an uppercut, he hits a backslide, and Guerrero wins the match, stunning Regal at 8:08. I gave the match 3.5 stars. I thought it was great. Sting asks Luger if they're going to be a team, and basically Luger accepts Sting's offer, and Luger and Sting are going to be a team, and they're on the same page in a promo. Now Sting takes on DDP. This is the early DDP. So it's not yet over with his diamond cutter or anything like that, but he would get over. This is the early ages of DDP. Sting was the favorite, but DDP actually took it to Sting with a headlock, a wrist lock, a reverse armbar, front face lock, a reverse chin lock, a lot of submission moves to try and wear down the faster Sting. Sting hit a Scorpion Deathlock, but DDP was right by the ropes, so he grabbed the ropes. And then it came off with a lariat to Sting and then a neck breaker, and he got a near fall. DDP then was caught with an inside cradle by Sting out of nowhere, but DDP kicked out. Then DDP stopped Sting's winning attempt with a Stinger Splash into a belly-to-belly suplex. Sting then goes for another leg sweep down in the middle of the ring to DDP, and he gets the Scorpion Deathlock on him in the middle of the ring this time. And Sting was able to win with that move at 6:20 after a Scorpion Deathlock. I gave the match 2 stars. So good wrestling on this Nitro. Bischoff promotes Clash of the Champions on TBS, as well as the next main event coming up. Hogan said he'd take on all Horsemen if he had to. So we got the main event of Nitro, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage versus the 4 Horsemen, Arn Anderson and Ric Flair. This match, it was on one of the best of Nitro DVDs. It's a great match. Bischoff says it should be on pay-per-view. Hulk Hogan to the ring last. Arn Anderson needed a metal detector before entering, says the commentary team. Ric Flair, the world champion, an unprecedented 12 times, says Bischoff. Randy Savage is dressed all in red and yellow as to be on the same team as Hogan. As Hogan's in red and yellow as well, obviously. Well, not obviously, because he dressed in black for a little bit there, but he's back to being red and yellow. And that was the babyface dressed in black. Wait till he dresses in black as a heel. That's a lot different Hogan. Now all they need is Ronald McDonald to be the perfect trio for the yellow and red. That was my attempt at being funny. I'll stop that. I apologize. Randy Savage in the ring with Flair, who does his usual shtick off the ropes and struts around, taps his shoulder, and woo! Hogan reverses Flair's hammerlock into a front face lock into a stare down. Hogan will brawl or wrestle either way. Flair chops Hogan and begs him, and it hits a thumb to the eye, and then Hogan hits Flair with a big boot as he shook it off. A clothesline and then another one cleaning house as Savage and Arn on the outside are wrestling while Hogan's laying Flair out with clotheslines. Macho Man with a standing armbar as he's tagged in, down on one knee. He's trying to fight fire with fire. Macho Man dragged Arn Anderson, who got the tags, head into Hogan's boot on the outside. A double axe handle from Savage to Arn. Ric Flair was on the corner and then chopped Savage back in the ring as he came back in. Both Mega Powers put a figure 4 on both guys at the same time, but they both got the ropes. So Savage and Hogan both applied a figure 4 leg lock to Flair and Arn, giving a taste of their own medicine. Back from a commercial break, the Horsemen had been wearing down Savage. Hogan wanted the hot tag, but hadn't got it yet, so they isolated Savage, cutting off their half of the ring, making frequent tags, double teaming. Savage comes back with chops hard and lands a side suplex. Arn tagged back in and stomped down the Macho Man and gets a sleeper, but Flair rakes his face behind the official. Arn with a snapmare, Flair drags Randy Savage into the guardrail. Savage on the defense, still with Flair and Arn wearing him down. Hulk gets in the ring with the hot tag, but the Horsemen double team him until Hogan clotheslines both of them to the floor. Randy Savage threw back Arn in, and Double A hits a spine buster on Hogan. He gets up, though, right away, not feeling pain, hulking up, and then he hits the boot and the leg drop for the victory. In the end, at 15 minutes even, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage defeated the Horsemen. I gave it 3.5 stars. After the match, the show ends with Giant chokeslamming Hogan with Zodiac and Sullivan and Jimmy Hart all around ringside. The Horsemen come down to beat on Savage and Hogan, who were laying down in the middle of the ring, beaten. Bischoff says, "We're out of time," and the show ends abruptly. So Savage and Hogan beat the Horsemen, but the Dungeon of Doom kind of took it to them afterwards, and Savage and Hogan were laid down on the mat as Week 17's Nitro ends. Again, it's the 19th episode of Nitro, but it's just the 17th time they went head-to-head with Raw. So this is the Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Wars reviews. I only review when Nitro went up against Raw. So it's the 19th Nitro, but this is Week 17. And last week, Nitro did a 2.5 when Raw got a 2.6. This week, Nitro gets a 2.7 and Raw gets a 3.0. So it's a loss of 0.3 to WWF, but it's still a high rating for Nitro. There are 7 wins, 8 losses, and 2 draws through 17 weeks. I gave last Nitro a 7 out of 10. I'm giving this week a 7.5 out of 10 as there was great wrestling throughout the show. Anyways, hit like and subscribe if you like my channel. If you want to go along with the Monday Night Wars, I archive these shows, so whenever you want to watch them, they're there for you. Next week, Nitro has a big shock. ratings-wise. So be sure to tune into Week 18. For Week 17 of Nitro, I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out. Thanks for watching, everyone.